You're also a very good example to kill the stereotype that successful women don't do well in marriage, because mtu akiangalia CV yako alafu akupate kwa video talking about your marriage, your child, you're like, oh wow, it works, ama it happens. But then yours is different. You are an IT expert. Umetengeneza mpaka hizo mabooster za telecommunication, I believe.
Yes.
Kama I loved your conversation with Mshai Mongola, where you gave your experience in Kabul. I hope you can give us that.
Yes.
But sasa kama we ni mnoma unatengeneza hizo vitu kupanda huko juu, ukirudi kwa nyumba nani anatengeneza hiyo?
Actually, that's a contradiction. My husband loves cooking. So like on Sundays, that's a day I don't even go to the kitchen. I go when now he calls me and says, it's ready, food is ready. So, you know, my daughter and I go and eat. He loves cooking. Okay?
Wow.
Yes. But if things needs fixing, the fridge needs fixing, chances are, his laptop needs fixing, chances are I'm the one who say, let me have a look. It happens. So, I mean, you know,
reversed roles. When you're fundi?
Yes, me I'm a fundi. The bulbs are not working. I'll get the stool. Okay, I'm not exactly tall, yeah?
Yes,
so I'll get a stool and I'll be there fixing, and he'll be there saying, so what's the problem? And I'll be explaining to him, and I'm up there. Yeah, it's like this, it's like this, it's like this. It happens.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's funny how you guys mlipatana. For those who don't know, Mwende Gatabaki is Mrs. David Day. But watu wengi wa kumtandao wanajua David D. So how am I your mismatch in a work, like an economist and an IT expert?
Actually, what happened is that I met him long before. I met him when I was 14 years old. I was in high school. Yeah, he was a friend of my brothers. I come from a big family. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, he used to come and visit my brothers.
Yes.
And I thought, I mean, this dude is not exactly bad looking. And then one time he came to visit and my brothers weren't there. And he has that level of confidence that he didn't just go away. So I was reading my physics book. He sits down and, you're reading your physics book, or the A-bot and the what? And we start a discussion. And because of how, I mean, my family has always, you know, we always discussed politics.
Yes.
It naturally came into the conversation. And I realized this is someone I could actually have conversations of all types. In addition to that, those are the old days when, let me say my family, because of my father being detained with Kenyatta, in my family you could never really say anything bad about Kenyatta. So this guy comes and he's telling me about how Kenyatta killed JM, and I'm looking to see whether my mother can hear that, you know, to make sure, you know, this conversation is not getting anywhere near the house. Because for once, there was someone in the house who could speak the things we were not allowed to speak.
Yes.
You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, and I liked that, his boldness. I liked that very much. And then he was very sharp. I noticed that from, you know, he was 16 then. So I noticed that he was very sharp even then.
Wow. So around this time that your father gets detained with Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, means around that time, ata akina President Uhuru alikuwa masafara around that time.
No, we hadn't been born. I mean, okay, am I looking like I was born those days? No, okay.
Oh, thank you for the clarification.
That was like 1952, that's when they were detained.
Oh, yes.
As we were born far much later. In fact, in my family, we have a group we call Born Before Independence and a group Born After Independence.
After independence.
Yeah, and we are the ones born after independence. We are a lot more flexible. We are more, you know, but the other ones before independence, they are very extremely serious. They take life a bit too seriously.
And very rigid.
Yes, you could put it like that.
You were at a place where you would call the president, na umwambie, huyu amenikazia. By the way, what makes you think as a governor to implement?
Where it started stopping is when I wanted to come with a single register, voter register. If you recall, in 2013, IBC said they had 3 registers, a green one, a red one, and a black one. And there were people missing from the 3. There were duplicate names in all the 3. I wanted to come up with a single voters register. And I wanted to come up with a system whereby once you get to age 18, not only is your ID issued like automatically, you're added to the people who can vote. So the only question you'll be getting when it's the elections time is, where do you want to vote? But this thing of always registering to vote, it's null and void. I mean, it's not necessary. We just waste a lot of money on it. It's when I did that system and I started talking about it. I mean, I thought it was a great thing. Then when people started seeing where that was headed, they straight away started telling the president, this is not good. In fact, what was the president's project? They used to call it the president's project, single source of truth. It became Mwende's project. And they started telling him, this Mwende's project is going to get us into trouble during the elections.
Okay. Sawa, you, the president, to quote one of the articles I read, had hunted you, akuja akupea kazi. And around the time, I want to believe your husband, as in president amekupea job. Your husband on the other end, ni chief strategist wa baba NASA. And that was before the handshake.
Yes.
You didn't have those moments kwa nyumba ya anakuja NASA. You didn't have some TB moments kwa nyumba.
No, I guess the way we work is we separate politics from real issues. There's politics and the real issues.
Kuna politics and real issues.
Yes, there's politicking. Like now there's a lot of politicking.
Yes.
But they're real issues. They're no jobs. People are so broke right now. Those are real issues. So we can politic as much as we want, but there are real issues on the ground. So there are times you just discuss real issues without the politics. Because, for example, whether we are talking about Baba, whether we are talking about the government, there were real issues then. The project I was doing actually came from 2013, the Westgate bomb, that the whole Westgate incident, where we had these people, they come and bomb the place. We actually don't even know whether they actually died there or they got out. Chances are some of them actually got out and just walked home. So the whole idea started with our borders are very porous. Yes, so we have people coming in and out of the country anytime. We have people coming in even through the airport anytime. We don't know actually who is here. You know, that's where the whole idea started. Why don't we have one single source of truth so that we know everybody who's in Kenya, anybody coming through the airport, we know where they are staying, we know where they have gone, we know, we can track their movements within the country. That's where the idea actually came from.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Like there's a system where you can develop here, the government knows where everybody is.
Yes.
Unakuja maandamano lakini serikali huyu alilala njaa.
But let me tell you why I also thought the idea was good. Well, it has question marks, because again, you don't want the government knowing exactly everything you're doing.
Yes. I
came from Tunisia, okay? Tunisia, they have that kind of a system.
Yes.
So that, and Tunisia, for example, Africans, you know, as black, this color, not only do they know where you live, they know, like, let me give you an example. It took a bit of time. When I joined AFDB, it took a bit of time before I got my vehicle registered, getting the CD plates. And you see, I could see police stopping people on the road. So I was a bit worried because I couldn't speak French. So I was a bit worried. These guys will stop me, they'll speak French, and I can't speak French. So I went to the protocol office, the protocol office in AFDB. And I told them, please, can you hurry with my CD plate so that I'm not stopped? They told me they cannot stop you. They know you. I said, no, how do you know that? So they told me, wait. He calls the police station. He asked me where I live. Yeah, you know, like how you can say, okay, Nairobi West Coast, you know. They call the police station near there. And they say, do you know this vehicle? The person said the vehicle, the color, where I work, it's driven by a lady. Her daughter goes to this school. Her daughter is normally picked, the school bus drops the daughter here. The housekeeper, who is Kenyan and has a license, because you're given a license, when you take a Kenyan housekeeper, you're given a working permit. The working permit, you understand? They gave him, because he was interpreting, it was in Arabic, but he was telling me in English. They know you, they know where your daughter is picked, they know that kind of thing. So the system works because for the longest, Tunis, they could never get to bomb Tunis, the capital city.
And that's a very nice
When that system failed, the day that system failed and there was change of government, 2 weeks after, Tunis was bombed. So that was the whole
That's
idea.
how heavy technology is.
Yes, that's
But
how, yes.
They had that much information about you.
Oh, yeah.
If we had that in Kenya, as in, that will help so many things. If you wanted to know if your husband is cheating, you just go to the police.
Can you imagine? But, okay, there you have to be careful, because then you can break many marriages, eh? Because, for example, no, let me give you let me give you an example. When I'm running now, people ask me, have you asked your husband? Has your husband agreed? But you know, when husbands are running for positions or saying something in public, they are never asked, has your wife agreed? For you to say that, you know. Like now, if my husband travels somewhere and, you know, I'm always asked. But him, he's never asked. So if you become, again, too transparent and you're tracking anybody and everybody, sometimes you get information that you don't want to know.
Now, with the culture of Kenya,
Uh-huh.
in terms of politics, when someone is running for office, people prepare for your money. How are you handling that with a husband who is an economist?
It's a tough one, because actually you mentioned something about money. There's some craze about money. That everywhere I go, I finish talking, people say, very well, you've spoken very well, but now, see tuachie kitu. Now, yeah, it's that time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
and that's everywhere. Even when I go to the market women will tell me that. When I meet the youth, they will tell me that. Border people, they will tell me that. So it has become like the way of life in Kenya.
Yes.
Those things we need to change, because I'll tell you, someone will give you 100 today, but how far will 100 take you? Maybe today, and it's
Kenyans
finished.
care?
Yeah?
The saddest thing, do you think Kenyans care?
Yeah, maybe that's the saddest part.
Women don't want to be identified by their husbands. And the article had actually said, Boniface Mwangi's wife it talks about women should not, they had some wording there.
Yeah.
I can't quote it verbatim. That women should not be identified by their husbands. Looking at your profile, I understand why. You have not been in the limelight, but looking at your profile, there are a few achievements that you have done. Does it make you feel bad that your husband stands out because he's been in the limelight, but you also have your achievements as a person?
No, I would say, I think it's our culture that men kind of always stand out. Like, for example, there was an article yesterday. They say the people running for Kiambu gubernatorial race, they say Kavogo, when they came to me, you know what they said? Wife to Devendei. They didn't even put my name. It's like I don't have a name. Yeah? I think it's just part of how we are as a society. It's a man who carries the day.
Yes.
For example, I use my name as Mwende Gatabaki, but you'll always see that Devendei's wife. It will always be in bracket, just in case you don't know, Devendei's wife. You know, so I think it's just how we are.
And for a marriage that has lasted that long with a beautiful story, and if we go back to culture, why Mwende Gatabaki and not Mwende Ndei?
Well, because when, that's a nice question. Okay, so Gatabaki is my dad. And what happened was, by the time we got married, I was already working for the UN. So I have my Kenyan passport, I have the UN passport, I have an ID, I have the passport, a special passport that I used to use for traveling.
Yes.
Because we used to do, when I was in the UN, when there was, let's say, war somewhere, an emergency somewhere, it's us, the telecoms people, who used to be sent on site first. So we needed another travel document where in the airport, you just pass, you just show it and you pass through, okay? So I had so many documents with Mwende Gatabaki that now changing them was going to be another whole process. I tried, immediately after I got married, I tried to even now say, and I was told, no, the name here, they're not the same. You know, and we realized, and he was very comfortable with it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I said,
as long as it has no ulterior motive.
No, it doesn't. Not that I know of, no.
Okay. Sawa sawa. And you've worked in very many different countries. Yeah. And I believe this is a question you've dealt with a lot. Bono wache pesa, ukuje kwa siasa, which I believe is a downgrade. If you were to look for a job, you would still get a job, I believe. You're not doing politics for the money. Ama sasa wewe ukiwa sasa Sonko wa IT now, money can be eaten properly. As in, you can create the system.
It's not about money. For me, it has never been for money. I don't think I've done anything in my life for money. I do things for social impact. So, for example, I was working for the World Food Program, which distributes food during emergencies.
Yes.
There's another quick here, they come. Even now when, let's say, northern Kenya, huko, it's very dry.
Yes.
They're the ones who bring food, etc. I do things for impact. When I worked for KTDA, okay, that was another one of my achievements because I transformed the smallholder tea farming.
Yes.
Okay, and farmers started getting more money, so they stopped uprooting their tea. It was not about money. By the way, I came from the UN, joined KTDA. My salary was maybe a third of what I was earning in Rome. Yeah, but I came.
Pesa, ukatwe mshahara to a third to come back to Kenya.
And have impact on smallholder farmers, which worked. That's how I got my first award.
Okay, how much money is this yenye mtu anafika inaacha ku about the money anymore? I'd love to know.
I don't know. There are people who put a lot of emphasis on money. I'm not one of those.
Teach us how not to put any emphasis on money. We want to learn today. What have you learned about money?
It's not that important. Listen, you'll see people who buy 3 very posh cars, but guess what? You can only be in one at a time.
But you can only, you have an option to be in a Prado tomorrow if you are in a Mercedes today, right?
I guess I've gone through all that.
Okay.
I've been there, done that, bought that car, bought that one. It doesn't matter anymore. I can buy Uber. Hey.
So for us, for the rest of us, and I speak for wananchi wa kawaida,
yes,
we have to get there and do that.
Not necessarily.
So that it stops mattering.
No. I would say no. By the way, it's an individual choice. Eh? You know, it's like getting saved. Eh? You know how getting saved is individual kabisa?
Yes.
Yeah? It's the same thing. What you choose as important in your life. Yeah. If it's not money, it's not money.
The issue about digitizing the land registry brought a lot of problems.
Yes.
But it would have been a great thing if we had that. Hey, but mtu akihack eka yako moja, ikuwe yake, those are problems we'll be dealing with.
Those are problems which exist today. I mean, your land, you can find your land has been sold like 3-4 times.
With a digitized one, you can still land on a computer. You can still land online.
But you see, systems are good as good as the people using them. Okay? If I plan to use a system, I mean, look at IFMIS. How many times have they been used to siphon money? It's a very good system. But it's also used to siphon money. People who know how to siphon money, they'll do it. So even the land system, yeah, people who know how to sell land, huko, generate title deeds, etc., they'll still do it. But it at least controls. It at least put some controls in place.
It's managed robbery.
Yes.
Now
yes.
You have been I don't know why I'm stuck at this. You have tried to deal with the system by being upright, ikakushinda ukatoka when it got to threatening levels, right? For the project that you are doing for the president. Yenye ilikuja ikabrandiwa project ya Mwende. Where they stopped paying your salaries, ikafika mahali, kaenda.
Yes.
That for me means that cartels are so powerful in this country that you'd rather just live your life.
They can get to the level where it was not just simple threatening, because I continued going to Nyayo House until when we broke for Christmas, one of my security people called me and told me, from now on, I don't want you to be drinking tea there, water there. I want to be carrying your tea and water from home.
Your security guy told you
Yes. You know, and initially I thought, I mean, you're joking.
Yes.
And she said, no, I'm not joking. Things do happen.
Yes.
You understand? So at some point you ask yourself, is it worth it? I'm exposing my family for something I'm not being paid, because by that time I hadn't even been paid for 5 months. Yeah? So yeah, it gets to that point where you ask yourself, is it really worth it? Or should I move on and do something else? Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, but I did, I got the project very far. Okay, it's not where it is today, but I got it to a stage where now it has grown to to a far much bigger platform,
Sawa.
which for me is success.
And knowing very well that how governments work, there are people who benefit from the suffering of many people. Do you really think that's a fight you can win?
Let me say something. For example, this e-citizen, one of the things it has done is it has made, for example, when you apply for passport, when you apply for government services, it has made it a lot more transparent. Okay, that is one.
Yes.
Secondly, it has we say any place, anywhere, anytime, that you whether you're in Mombasa, Lokichogio, wherever, as long as you have access to e-citizen, you can actually apply, let's say, for your ID, your passport, your whatever it is, for the service from any part of Kenya, anytime, even Saturdays, Sundays, you understand? So that works. So I can say you win some, and there's some you lose. Yeah, yeah.
One of the main, I think, maybe that's why this show probably is on air, is because we are looking for one way to deal with unemployment. In your experience, this is the last question we're asking. Because of time, I wish we could continue the conversation further. In your experience, how do you think, you said it yourself, people are suffering, people are broke, people don't have money. What is the future of work?
The way I look at it is not like theoretically what's the future of work. I look at Kiambu and I ask myself, how am I going to create jobs for the youth? Okay. So, for example, I've seen some projects being done by KCB in Rongai, where they do greenhouses. Greenhouses are small, like 8 meters by 25, okay? And they do, with that, you're able to do vegetables, you actually start earning an income on a monthly basis. So, for example, I want to actually, there are places where you can get land cheaply, like in Lari, it's one of the sub-counties in Kiambu. We lease land, and we put greenhouses and start engaging the youth in agribusiness, okay? Then there are, then there are areas where some youth will need some hands-on skills, whether it's something to do with timber, furniture, and depending on their interest, you try to get them areas where they can get skills, hands-on skills, so that they can actually start working. For example, I live near on Limuru Road. It's very difficult to have a plumber. You know how your sinks or your toilets stop working? Looking for a plumber takes days. You have to call your friends and ask, who does this for you? Who does this for you? Why? We just need to train people, our youth. Those are jobs they can do, and those jobs are there. So there are many different kind of things that I want to try and actually start creating self-employment. What is difficult is getting people employed formally. But self-employment, and they have skills, they'll get.
So,
yes.
Now, you have a vast network in the NGO world. You have great connections. My asking is, for example, in a campaign style, the money that people would eat for campaigns, what if you started such projects, brilliant ideas, and had them work, like tried and tested ideas in your own capacity. Like you tried, ukaona greenhouses, ime impact watu fulani, life, and then you come and tell people like, oh, instead of ile kuwapatia pesa nini, kuna watu kadhaa wamepatiwa kazi ya greenhouse pale, it's working. I started a project ya training young people as plumbers nini, we have A's, tumesupply hapa na pale. Do you think you can vote for me ndio tufanye mob? Why can't people join politics that way?
But that's exactly what I'm doing. So, for example, I've met these ladies. I'm helping them. So they have the idea. They have understood the concept of doing table banking, self-help groups. So they told me, but help us do it. So I helped them. So I'm helping them in the process of registering, how to start actually doing it. We do some small proposals for them, take them through. That's something I'm already doing.
Okay.
So that so we're not waiting until August, then we start working. No. We're actually doing that. So even the youth, I met the youth in Kabete, we have started the same kind of thing, step by step by step.